Hi, I'm Marty Demko. This is another of my experiments. I've spent maybe a total of 2 hours over the last couple of days thinking about the concept of boredom. What do I do when I'm bored? What do I think about the concept of it? Might you do? Questions to ask. And I usually have a few notes in front of me to keep me, keep a structure. But I'm going to try to do this completely ad lib. The first thing I want to tell you is that I think that when people are bored, sometimes there's a rationalization that it's okay to be bored, let it happen. When you're ready to move, you're ready to move. To me, it's almost like a corollary of the just be, meditate mindset. I have generally found, and I think my clients have found as well, that if you let yourself be bored, and usually you're less likely to come up with something good to do than if you do some purposeful thinking. When I feel bored, I usually will either while I'm walking my dog or just sit, and I sometimes with the lights down and a candle, and I have a little a clipboard and a pen and a paper, just old fashioned. I will structure thinking about what the hell could I do regarding my work life and the various components thereof, relationships, recreation, etc. Or I might walk through the day. Okay, what could I do regarding my morning, my afternoon, my evening? This time of year? So I come up with a structured approach to thinking about what the hell could I be doing. And sometimes what I do is I think about should I do more of what I'm already doing? For example, I do a fair amount of gardening. It's November. Should I rake more of the leaves, maybe even my neighbor's leaves, and put them on my compost pile? Should I, I already do a lot of reading. Should I read more? Should I read differently? I mean, I've got a zillion books on what I call my bedside. It's actually on the side of my bed. Between my wife, my dog, and me, I've got these books sitting there. Sometimes there isn't enough room on the nightstand, but that's more detailed than you probably want to know. Anyway, so I usually have about a half dozen books, as well as my Kindle, which has a bunch of others. Interestingly, the one I'm most excited about reading is The Square and the Tower by Niall Ferguson, and also a very short introduction to genomics. And I love the short stories. I'm liking of the short stories of John O'Hara. And I also got a book of Wednesday, New York Times crossword puzzle. Wednesdays are the median difficulties. So anyway, more importantly, so if I might want to do more of what I'm already doing, but I might also, do I want to do something different? Do I want to learn something? I am very interested in this thing called generative artificial intelligence, which is computer-generated text, videos, even potentially Hollywood movies. I'm interested in learning more about that. I'm not going to be a programmer, but I'd like to learn more about it. I'm aware of its liabilities in terms of all those zillions of good content creator jobs, creator of text or video, that could be threatened if it's all done by computer. I'm trying to think about that and all the implications, and then write some tweets about it, and maybe an article or maybe a YouTube video. So I think about what I might want to do differently. So that would learn something new, take a course, just so do some reading, which I'm more of a self-study guy than a course guy, but maybe you're not. I might teach a class. As I was thinking about this, I suddenly had this idea. I would love to teach a course in music appreciation. So I put in a proposal at my nearest adult school, the Piedmont Adult School, and for a course in music appreciation, from the classics to the moderns, from Handel to Hamilton, where I'd play stuff on the piano and I'd play recorded stuff and just talk about the feelings, about what has been your experience as you listen to it, as we listen to it together. What do you think about the lyrics? What does it make you feel? And I thought it'd be fun to teach a couple of courses like that, a couple of sessions like that. So again, that's something new. I've never done that. So I do try to think about something new. What new could you do? What's something new that you could do that matches your natural abilities and your interests? Like I am terrible at fixing anything. I'm terrible at drawing, but I can think on my feet. I care about music. I care about artificial intelligence. I care about work. I care about reinventing education. So I think about the things I value, And also that I'm more of a soloist. I'm not likely to be a team player and join a panel. So I think, what could I do solo? Could I read something? Could I write something? Could I give a talk about something? When I teach, I still feel like I'm very interactive, but it's not being on a team. I match my skills, my interests, my values to what I might do when I'm bored. What else? Let's see. Let me see. I did make some notes. Let me see if there's anything I left out. Let me see here. Yeah, what I don't want to do is when I'm bored, I tend to eat. And that's not good. And I suspect that I'm not the only person who's got that eat when we're bored. And the other thing is, sometimes, and I think I briefly alluded to this, but when I am bored and want to think about it, I sometimes will think as I said, just sit quietly away from my computer, often with the lights down, candle, and as I said, my clipboard and a pen. But sometimes I will take my dog for a walk. When I take my dog for long hikes short ones, like 10 minutes up to an hour. And what I do, and at the end of those, I often sit at a cafe and I go with something to think about. If I'm bored, what the hell could I be doing? Or if it's an upcoming client, or in this case, for example, if I want to talk about boredom, I will take my little memo pad with me, and as I'm walking to Trader Joe's with the dog, I am thinking about, what the hell am I going to say about boredom? Okay, so now let's just move to you, importantly. When you are bored, was there anything in this buffet, this brain dump of a million options, that you want to think about doing, add to your repertoire of what to do when you're bored? I do think that notion of allow yourself to be bored ends up being a regretful experience. Too few people allowing themselves to stay bored, or its long-term manifestation, go to Europe to just explore and be. Of course, there are exceptions, but in general, I think people find that a mistake. But just summarizing briefly, are there any of the things that I mentioned, things likely to help you? So, in other words, is there something related to your skills, interests, values, whatever, that you might do more of, or something new? If, for example, you're a hands-on person, should you, and this is the opposite of me, but should you build something, fix something, create something, whether it be jewelry or build a shelf? If you are more of an investigative researcher type like me, what should you read? Should you write something? Should you, etc.? If you are artistic, what should you create? Should you create more of what you already create, whether it be music or writing or poetry or whatever you do? Should you do more of it? If you're social, should you make new friends? Should you do some co-counseling where you and a friend meet either in person or by phone or Zoom, say every 2 weeks? For a half hour. In the first half of the first half hour, you help them with their problem, or you listen to them. And the second half, you reverse roles. If you're entrepreneurial, should you start a little side business, a small little internet business? Or even if you're not going to make enough money, maybe you do like to make jewelry, and maybe you would like to sell it, and learn how to be great at selling on eBay. Are you more of a person who's more comfortable at the computer? Should you be learning to code? Maybe you already know how to code in Python, but not in Ruby? Should you learn more about GPT-3, which is about next word predictions? Should you be learning about artificial intelligence, generative artificial intelligence, and where you might play? What could you do that would solve the boredom? 2 things I should also mention that I do. I co-counsel people, as I said, that for half-hour thing. And also, I play the piano, and so I do private concerts. When I meet somebody I like, whether it be on the street or in Trader Joe's or whatever, I invite them. I say, would you like to come to my home? And if you come during the day, I'll bake and serve coffee and give you a 45-minute concert that's custom to what you like. If it's the evening, I'll offer you champagne. That's just my weird combination of things. Well, people don't do that. But what could you do that's unique, that would fill your time in a more valuable way than just being and allowing yourself to be bored? What else? If you're stuck, think back to when you were younger. Was there something even when you were a child that you loved doing and maybe you want to do now, or when you were in college or whatever? I think that's all that I need to say. It is. So, usually in life, we're lucky if we can get our audience to remember one thing or to do one thing differently as a result of this buffet of options that I've just given you. Is there one thing you want to do differently? In any event, I do thank you for watching. I welcome your thumbs up and accept your thumbs down. I always look forward to your comments, and especially like it if you hit the share button below. Share on your social media so that my efforts can have broader impact. And I am flattered if you choose to subscribe to my channel. And in any event, I do thank you for watching. I am Marty Nemko.